And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alleviate the difficulties and distress of all those who are suffering around the world. Inshallah, before the adhan is called, let us move forward, inshallah, to fill in the gaps. There are many gaps notable within this main hall, inshallah. Fill in those gaps so that those who come after us can accommodate themselves with ease. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our presence here today. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده صلوات الله وسلامه على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي زدني علما والحقني بالصالحين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. My dear respected elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, today, inshallah, we will close on our 4-part series, which was titled Diseases That Plague the Soul, with part 4, in which we will cover the mouth. Recall, my fellow Muslims, the sole hadith that became the focal point of our discussion last week. In it, we discussed the latter portion of the hadith. Today, inshallah, we intend to cover the first part of it. I implore the Almighty Allah to allow us to see what He wants us to see and to embrace just that as good for all ourselves. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. The hadith in discussion is in which the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated, whoever can guarantee the chastity of that which lies between their 2 jawbones and that what lies between their 2 legs, I guarantee paradise for that individual. من يضمن لي ما بين لحيي وما بين رجلي أضمن له الجنة. This hadith has been recorded by Imam Bukhari himself. We spoke extensively about private parts last week. Today the question is, what does it mean to guarantee the chastity of what lies between the jawbones? Growing up, whenever a discussion came about the tongue, we'd really hear a lot about backbiting, slandering, cursing, words that people utter. The general consensus amongst those who grew up in my era was protection of the mouth means protection of what you say and what you utter. Today I intend to shift the discussion from what comes out of the mouth to what goes in via the mouth. In an evolving environment of substance abuse and use, my goal is to shed light and provide perspective to this ongoing trend. Keep in mind, I am not here to give a fatwa. There is a saying in Arabic, al-isharatu takfi lil-aqil. And for those who understand, they understand. Hints are sufficient for those who have a mind and who can understand. My dear friends, substance uses and abuses is no way a new thing in our world. Rather, it has been coming along for centuries. Let us begin with the first and most common of them all, smoking. I remember when I was in India in 2001, and I was speaking to a person, and they were doing some really weird movements with their hand. They bring it to their mouth and just go back. I didn't understand what they were doing. But then they showed me that they had something known as a beauty. Small baby cigarettes that Indians smoke. Kind of hide it right there between your fingers, and you pull it out, you smoke it, and you put it back. From these cultural beauties to cigarettes and cigars, smoking is a practice for many in our world. It has lost, the awareness of smoking has lost its momentum, as now it's considered a cultural practice. But my dear friends, it is far more than that. According to the CDC, smoking is the leading cause of preventable death. The leading cause. According to a current survey, if the current pattern of smoking continues worldwide, 8 million people will die annually from tobacco-related deaths by the year of 2030. 258 billion cigarettes were sold in America last year. 258 billion cigarettes were sold in America last year. That's enough for each American to smoke a cigarette every day for the duration of 1 month. As for nicotine, that reaches the brain in 10 seconds after taking the first puff. Cigarettes contain arsenic, lead, tar, amongst more than 7,000 other chemicals. Again, 7,000 other chemicals. According to their studies, 1 in 3 individuals will die young due to tobacco-related diseases. Now, the fact that tobacco and smoking is something to be alarmed of, and I'm going to veer away from tobacco just for a few seconds. For those who are culturally acquainted with pan and tobacco pan, or those who grew up in countries where niswar or chewing tobacco is the norm, the fact that 7 in 10 adults who are addicted to smoking wish that they can give up this practice is indicative of the fact that it is an addictive substance. We've all heard, we've read, we've been shown on TV commercials that smoking causes cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, lung disease, and also other ailments. Third-hand smoke. Now, many of us may have not heard third-hand smoke. You've heard second-hand smoke. Third-hand smoke is the particles that cling to a smoker's hair and clothing and linger in a room after they left. Is a cancer risk to small children and also to pets. Smoking is also a known cause for erectile dysfunction in males. Again, hinting back to our discussion last week. Two more very important statistics. 480,000 Americans die from tobacco exposure and secondhand smoke in the U.S. every year. And why not? For tobacco kills up to 1/2 of all users. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ saying, protect this zone. As we talked about the parameters of faith, the borders of faith, fortifying the wall of faith, ensuring that we understand what is allowed within those borders and what should stay outside those borders. Let it be noted in our memories today that cigarettes and smoking are one of those things that are not only detrimental to the body, it is detrimental to one's faith. In our common day era, e-cigarettes and Juuls have become the norm. According to the Center on Addiction, e-cigarettes and other vaping devices are not risk-free. There's a growing body of research that indicates that they may lead to negative health consequences, including damage to the brain, heart, and lungs. Cancerous tumors will develop, and preterm deliveries and stillbirths will occur in pregnant women who are using e-cigarettes or Juuls. They contain nicotine, a highly addictive drug with known health risk. And e-cigarettes is kind of an offshoot of what we know culturally in back home countries, especially in Arabia, and now a growing trend here in America, hookah. You got hookah lounges. Children are now flocking to hookah lounges in the evenings to hang out with their friends, play pool or billiards, cards, have a few snacks, watch a game. According to lung.org, the charcoal used to heat the tobacco can raise health risks by producing high levels of carbon monoxide, metals, and cancer-causing chemicals. According to their studies, at least 82 toxic chemicals and carcinogens have been identified in hookah smoke alone. Although the smoke passes through water, this does not eliminate the hazardous, addictive chemicals released from the tobacco. It too leads to complications of lung functions such as COPD and bronchitis. It increases the risk of heart conditions such as heart disease and heart attacks. Nationwide, an estimated 590,000 high school students, which equates to 4.1%, and 140,000 middle school students, which equates to 1.2%, have smoked hookah in the past month. You understand there's an age factor when it comes to cigarettes, but with hookah, it's trending now from high schoolers to middle schoolers. In 2017, 2.6 million adults in America used hookah water pipes or pipes. This takes us from smoking to e-cigarettes and Juuls, hookah to the mother of them all, Ummul Khaba'ith, the mother of all sins, and that is nothing else but alcohol consumption. Brothers and sisters, it is due time that we talk about alcohol prevailing in our homes, in our communities. We have to stop living in a bubble assuming our children do not drink or Muslims do not drink. If you are still living in that zone, you will be surprised. I'm not here to bash anyone. I'm here to talk about the reality of the world we're living in and how this can be detrimental to gaining the promise of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, you protect it, I will take you to paradise. You protect it, what's between your jaws. You protect what's between your legs. I will guarantee, said who? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I will guarantee paradise for you. There's a story written in the books of hadith of a king from the time of Bani Israel. He arrested a person and said, I'm giving you 4 choices. Either you drink wine, or you kill an infant, you commit adultery, or you eat pork. If you don't choose any one of these, I will kill you. And so he looked, he's like, what could I do which is going to be the lesser of all evils? Because we're living in a world where people talk about the lesser of the 2 evils. So he went and he picked up the cup of wine and he drank it. Lo and behold, he drank the wine. He became intoxicated. He killed the infant. He then committed adultery and he ended his day by eating pork. That is why the Prophet ﷺ told us, it is Ummul Khaba'ith, it is the mother of all evils. When you go to our so-called Muslim countries, the sale of alcohol in duty-free isn't solely for the non-Muslim clientele. It is exclusively for the Muslim clientele. I'm sure many of you know Muslim countries that you transit in as you go to your countries. Alcohol is amazing. It's large. It's huge. The shelves and the aisles of alcohol. Brothers and sisters, this is the one thing that the Prophet ﷺ warned his people of. And that warning, when it met with understanding of faith, resulted in those people taking their alcohol and throwing it out on the street. We're not told to go to people's houses and pull alcohol from their shelves. We are being educated and inspired through our faith to make the right decision for ourselves, because we have to all return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We learn from alcohol that it not only destroys your internal organs, your liver, your heart, your pancreas, your brain, but it's also a cause for cancer, stroke, heart disease, liver disease, breast cancer, and the lot. It shrinks the brain, it causes blackouts, it changes your behavior, it's a cause for infertility, sexual dysfunction, and numbness of the brain. An estimated 88,000 people, approximately 62,000 men and 26,000 women, die from alcohol-related causes here in America annually, making it the 3rd leading preventable cause of death in the United States. According to a 2018 national survey on drug use and health, 86.3% of people ages 18 and older reported that they drank alcohol at some point in their lifetime. Again, how many? 86.3% of 18 and older adults said they drank alcohol at least once in their lifetime. And as I said last week, and I don't want to bring those numbers, the amount of children in our colleges and universities, our Muslim sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, who are not only exposed to alcohol, but who are binging and who are drinking and who are going to these parties, the percentile is over 40%. 70% reported that they drank in the past year. 55.3% reported that they drank in the past month. In 2014, the World Health Organization reported that alcohol contributed to more than 200 diseases. Alcohol contributed to more than 200 diseases and injury-related health conditions, most notably DSM-4 alcohol dependence. You know, it's amazing that our Prophet ﷺ was divinely inspired, and the inspiration and the wisdom and the revelations are only full of facts. It is only pure truth. And it would take such organizations and nations and bodies of governance to rally to identify what's causing the problem, only for them to put the finger exactly on that which our Habib Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us 1400 years ago. Now, the reason I wanted to finish with this topic this week is there's a topic I wanted to touch on. I'm not a medical expert, I'm not a scientist, But I've been receiving messages from many youth that I know across the country who've been asking me, especially in states where marijuana is being legalized, what is wrong with using marijuana? And so we go into the classification of marijuana. It is dried leaves, flower stems, and seeds from Cannabis sativa or Cannabis indica. It's a plant. It contains a mind-altering chemical known as THC. Marijuana is the most commonly used psychotropic drug in the United States after alcohol. I want you all to remember a trend of words in all these items that we've been discussing so far. And if you haven't caught it yet, I'll remind you in a few minutes. In 2018, more than 11.8 million young adults used marijuana in the past year. According to the Monitoring the Future survey, rates of past year marijuana use amongst middle and high school students have remained steady, but the number of teens and 8 to 10 grade students who say that they've used it daily has increased. With the growing popularity of vaping devices, teens have started vaping THC. It's the ingredient that's found in marijuana that produces that high. With nearly 4% of 12 graders saying that they vape THC daily. In addition, the numbers of young people who believe regular marijuana use is risky is decreasing. There is now becoming a trend in our nation, my brothers and sisters, where it's not considered to be a vice. It's not considered to be a harm. It's not considered to be a bad thing. Rather, people have normalized it. Hey, if states like Illinois and Michigan and California and Wisconsin, I believe, and Seattle and Washington are legalizing marijuana, what's wrong with using it? See, if we stay quiet on these discussions and say, you know what, our kids will figure it out, the chances are they're going to indulge, commit, and then remorse, only to figure it out when it's too late. There's a difference between marijuana, THC, and CBD. CBD has significant medical benefits, and it does not make people feel quote-unquote stoned, and it can actually counteract the psychoactivity of THC. Now, brothers and sisters, these are just a few of the many items that people abuse. We can go into drugs, we can go into a lot of other things. But I feel the point is being delivered that these all, the point is, alter the state of the mind. Now we go into Islam and we seek the hukm, the ruling of intoxicants. In all the products discussed, which have one common trend, and that is mind-altering effects. We seek from the Quran and Sunnah what is the hukm of something that does it. Now, interestingly, for those who say alcohol isn't haram if it doesn't make you drunk. So I know my body's ability and my borderline. So I can drink a cup of wine and I'm not going to lose my mind. But if I drink a few bottles, if I chug down a few, I might. If I take a six-pack, it might be a problem. But if I stay within my boundaries, I should be fine. Brothers and sisters, it's not about your boundaries. It's about its ability to do exactly that. Alter your state of mind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Baqarah verse number 29 says, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَّا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. It is Allah who created for you everything that's on this earth. That means everything that's on this earth is to serve you. Its purpose is to serve you. But there's a principle here that everything is permissible, that Allah has created for us, unless it is explicitly prohibited by the Quran or Sunnah, or it causes harm to the human being. Concerning these general prohibitions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah A'raf, verse number 157, He commands them what is just, and forbids them what is evil, and allows them as lawful what is good and pure, and prohibits them what is bad and impure. So Allah's created everything, but He says, يُحِلُّ لَكُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْكُمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. Good is permissible, bad is not. So now Allah is making that distinction. Rasulullah said, La darara wa la dirara. There shall be no harm, nor shall there be any harming. In a hadith, in Sahih Muslim, the Prophet Muhammad said, and this is exactly where everyone is confused. Kullu muskirin khamrun wa kullu khamrin haramun. This khamr word doesn't mean alcohol. It doesn't mean Budweiser or Heineken. Khamr means intoxicant. Every intoxicant falls in the category of khamr. And everything that's a khamr is haram. Every intoxicant is a khamr. Every khamr is prohibited. Umar radiallahu anhu once stood on the pulpit of the Prophet Muhammad and said, Indeed, people, the prohibition of khamr was revealed, and it can be made from 5, not exclusive. It could be these 5 or more: grapes, dates, honey, grains, and barley. And khamr is that which conceals the mind. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to reflect on what was said today, and allow us to better our path in life, to take care of our bodies, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may take care of us tomorrow. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah wa kafa, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawala. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, your body is an amana. It's a trust. It does not belong to you. If you feel that such practices that were discussed this afternoon do not violate that trust, then be ready to explain it when you return it tomorrow. As I said, I'm not going to give fatwa. Alhamdulillah, in the 16 years of being a khatib and imam, I've never given fatwas from the mimbar, and I'm not going to do it today. But if you feel what you are doing is okay, then go back to Allah and return this body and explain it. Because I know that when you return a car with smoke, you're fined $250. When you return a hotel room in which you smoked and it was a non-smoking room, you're fined $500. Return this body to Allah with toxicity in the lungs. Possibly you might have to pay for it with your paradise. Let it be known, my dear friends, that these 2 pleasures, the pleasures of the private parts and the pleasure of the mouth, inflict harm even though they may not become apparent. A person may sleep around, enjoy having sex with different people, and may not catch an STD or AIDS. A person may drink and smoke and do drugs and not catch any disease or cancer. But brothers and sisters, that doesn't mean that they were not harmed. All unlawful sexual pleasures may not lead to disease or health issues, and all substance abuse may not lead to cancer addiction. However, there's one thing that both of them will do. It will kill one's inner drive, one's inner morale, one's focus. It will lead to lack of motivation, lack of direction, lack of commitment, and lack of endurance on a path. Today we see this becoming common in the next generation. They don't want to commit. They don't want to focus. They don't want to do something in life. This shows not that they're doing haram. This shows that these vices are plaguing our society. And if there's one people on this earth, not the CDC, not the government of America, not the World Health Organization. If there's one people that can bring about change and awareness to this, it has to be, and it can only be, the Muslims. Because we're the only religion in which such issues have been addressed on such a high level, that your paradise depends on it. And so understand our practices. Go back and reevaluate those practices. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what is good, and make a change before we're changed and there's no point of return. I want to take 30 seconds and say one thing, brothers and sisters. Today's topic is one of many topics that the scholars, the teachers of this masjid believe need to be discussed, awareness needs to be created, education needs to be provided, and the culture has to change. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, here at the Islamic Association of Collin County, we are blessed, mashallah, with a team of like-minded driving souls and minds who want to drive this community to the next level. For that, we need you today. As our Amir said, we still lack 340 people that can be sustainable donors. We have close to 2,000 people in this masjid right now as I speak. Let us today in this khutbah go out from here, inshallah, and become sustainable donors. My wish is that each family gives $100 a month to this masjid. If not, let's sign up for $50 a month. If not, let's make it $25 a month. But today, let's close this with our continuous, dedicated contribution so that the real work that needs to be done can be done without fear, without reservation, without the concern that we will not have the financial backing. This is your masjid. This is our community. May we grow it together. May we benefit from it together. May we change through it together, and may we become representatives as one ummah. We send salutations and blessings upon Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who guided us, who mentored us, and showed us what is possible that can be done. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala sayyidina Muhammad abdika wa rasulika an-nabiy al-ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa وسلم تسليما كثيرا. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. رب اغفر وارحم وتجاوز عما تعلم إنك أنت العز الأكرم. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم اشف مرضانا وعاف مبتلانا وارحم موتانا يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Please ensure that our lines are straight, stand shoulder to shoulder. The edge of our tail should be on the edge of the line. Please ensure the line in front of us is complete from both sides before we form a second line. Again, brothers, please move forward as soon as you can, as quickly as possible. There are many people outside these doors waiting to enter and to accommodate themselves also.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر.